Hello there, I'm Gary and welcome to my channel. Today I'm building the Matchbox de Havilland Sea Venom in 1/32nd scale. This is the 8th kit in Simon's Matchbox Challenge. If you're not familiar with this, channel supporter Simon John has collected a huge number of kits made by Matchbox, a manufacturer prominent in the UK market in the 1970s and 1980s. Now and again he sends me one of them to build, and I promise him I'll build everything he sends, just some take a bit longer than others. This one was a proper challenge, so let's get going. First of all, I'll list the paints and products I used during the build. Okay, we're going to make a start on this Sea Venom. The first thing is to start building the engine, and this is the exhaust cone that we're going to set together first. It's always a moment, isn't it? The first bits you stick together of a new kit. I love it. And then the cone sits on top of the turbine disc like so. Then there's the burner section here. This is support for the annular burners that go behind the compressor disc. The annular compressor, no, not an annular. These are annular burners. Annular burners, actually, because they're in cans. Talking to myself. Right. The burners go along this outside of this ring here. Okay, so let's make sure that's nice again. The centrifugal compressor is at the front, so this sits in the back of that. I'm going to get it roughly right because it's not terribly well centered, but the plastic's not sort of perfectly molded, so it doesn't sit exactly where it's supposed to. I'll just let this dry off for a little while. And there's some ancillary bits of the engine that need to go on, and these can be a little tricky to line up accurately, but we'll do our best. There we go, that will go in. There. Right. There, like that. Yeah, there we go, like that. The two halves of the inlet can go together as well. There's locating pins at this end and there's none anywhere else, so just have to see what we can do. There's another couple of assemblies go underneath the inlet pipe. Gee, no, it goes the other way around, doesn't it? That's it, it goes that way around. Don't know if that'll make a difference, but it probably will, so it'll stop someone saying, haha, you got the throttle bracket nozzle the wrong way around or something. It's probably an oil pump or a fuel pump, or well, it's not going to be a fuel pump, it's probably an oil pump. And another piece that goes up here. It looks like you've cut it badly off the frame, but you haven't. It's actually shaped to go here, but it's not immediately obvious when you look at it that that's the case. The rear tailpipe of the engine goes together in two halves. We'll just glue that up, wait for that to set, and then we'll sand it down on the outside here and paint off this. I guess we're going to do it in stainless steel and then do some colouring on it or something. We'll have a look, see what we can do. Right, with all the bits of paint done, we can just hook up these two parts of the engine like so. I think it's looking really cool, I have to say. There's this brace here. Now it goes in. There's a couple of holes in the casing, so there's one in there And it's really difficult. There's one actually there. The other one's around here. Okay. It's just on the inside of this end of a can here. It's part of the, there we go, the compressor there. So that's on this side. We do the same for the other side as well. So that basically is the engine done. And now I guess you build the rest of the fuselage for it to sit into. But we're going to start with the cockpit. Next onto the cockpit, and this piece here has to sit, or the back has to sit on top of the floor of the cockpit here to complete the backing. That's going to be hidden by the seats probably, but I might just fill that in when it's done anyway. We need to put on the side panels for the cockpit now. Do make sure they're going to fit on. Do a bit of dry fitting and the like, because they're a little fiddly, I will say. Plenty of glue in, and then really push those into place. And what we have is the control panel, instrument panel rather, and that sits in there. And these side parts line up, so we've got a jolly time now lining up all these bits and pieces with 70s or 80s plastic. Okay, I'll get back to you in a minute. And then that whole cockpit piece goes into the fuselage. Okay, it's looking convincing. We also need the engine sitting in here, so it sits up against this. It sits up against this frame here. So we'll put some glue on that. Okay, so it goes in there. That's its top and bottom, so that's the top. That's the top, that way around. Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. So you've got this in, we've got this in, and now I can put the two halves together. Okay, so two fuselage halves go on together now, and this is where things start to get kind of interesting. Actually, I wonder if we could put this in first and then put that in a bit. That's what I'm going to try. I don't think this will work necessarily, but we'll give it a go. So we're going to put these parts in first, and that goes in there, that goes in there. Like that. That goes in there like that. That kind of goes in there. Yeah, that's okay. That can go together there. That can go together there. That can go together there. What I'm going to do is just get this taped up first, and then I'll put the engine in a moment. Okay, now we're going to just fiddle this in. It's not going to like it. We're going to have to push it. There we go. A bit, and this has popped out, so we're going to need to fix that. There we go. That goes in there, that goes in there, that goes in there. Those kind of go in there. That should be it. Okay. I'll just tie some of these things together. Okay, I think that's close. What I need to do is put the rest of the engine on, or the covers on, and see how we go from there. While the fuselage is setting up, I'm going to put in the two halves of the inner wings on both sides, so just clip together in this fashion. I'll put a load of lead shot in the nose cone, and then a load of PVA glue to hold it in place. I've left this for a couple of days to set. It's probably quite a lot more than I need, but always better to be safe than sorry with these things. Then the nose cone can go onto the front of the fuselage. Underneath the chin of the aircraft is this panel, which is the outlet for the 20mm guns, also the supposed not very well modelled nose gear bay. I can put the wings onto the side of the fuselage, like so. On the rear of the engine, there's a cover that goes on the back here. Next, I'm putting in the air inlets, and these go into here and just sort of kind of slide down into position, like so, like that. The two boom halves fit together like so. These are a little bit fiddly because sometimes they can be a bit warped or whatever, but that's fine. There we go, like that. Then the rudder sits into the back of the fin like this. The horizontal stabilizer, tailplane if you will, goes together in two halves. This is going to sit between the two booms. And there's these actuator housings for the elevator. They go in here. Back to the main wing, and we're putting in the wheel well next. Now these are different for the Sea Venom and the Venom, so make sure you use the right ones. I'm going to push on with the outer wings now, and these each come in two halves, which simply click together. And then on each there's this wing fence that sits into the slot here and hooks over the leading edge like this. The wingtip fuel tanks, as usual, in two halves, so just simply go together. Now I'm going to put these together before I finish off the front end. So I think there's sort of a slightly blunt, almost like a filler cap, but there's a little bit of extra plastic there because the frame for these parts, that's one of the injection points. But I'll leave that until it's all dry, then I can just round it off. Otherwise we'll just tape and clamp as usual. Then the tip tanks can go onto the ends of the wings. There's a little black tab that fits in here. There's a straight tab here if you are having the wings deployed, or there's a bent one if you want the folded wing, which sets the angle of the fold. I'm using the wings out, so I'm using the simple tab like so. And when the booms are finished, they slot into the back of this fairing on the wing like this. Remembering to put the horizontal stabilizer in as well. So here we are. I've sprayed the top in extra dark sea grey, the underside, this is a big plane, in sky type S. The wing tanks are in red. They're going to have white checkerboards on them, which comes as a decal, and I've done the nose in black. So that's all of that. I'm now going to put the decals on, and then I'll let those dry on. While those are drying, I'll build the undercarriage and all the rest of that, and I'll paint the canopy as well. One thing the kit does have are some checkerboard markings for the fuel tanks. This is particularly for the Royal Australian Navy one, which of course would be the one that I've picked to do. Now they come in 4 strips of decals for each side. They're all labelled, so they've got the right curvature and stuff like that. But being older decals, what you'll notice is that they do have like a bit of excess carrier film here. So what I'm going to do, I think it's a good top tip, just trim them to the edge of the white checkers, and that's going to make it a lot easier to align one side to the next if they've all been trimmed right. Just the edge of the white, don't go into the white, just trim it off like that, and then it'll be easier to lay into position. When we come to lay it, plenty of decal solution on the top here. Don't want to get any silvering, you know, from the air pockets and stuff like that underneath there. And the decal slides on. I'm trying to get quite close, but you know, it's not going to sit perfectly straight away. Okay, and then we can just nudge it ever so gently and slightly into place. I'll do the undercarriage while I'm waiting for the decals to set, so the wheels just go together in two halves like this. Now the nose leg goes together in two halves, but then you see there's this axle here, which is going to be difficult if I'm painting the nose wheel, to paint the nose wheel on there. So what I might do is take these off, drill through either side so I can put a dowel in later when the nose wheel's painted, and put the dowel in into the leg when it's done. So that'll be a lot easier, and it'll be an awful lot easier to paint that way. So this is one of the main legs. It's painted in steel, but just this little bit here I've done in chrome with a chrome pen, just to give it a bit of textural difference, because that's the bit that goes up and down, so it'll get quite worn and quite shiny. Then the main wheel goes on like so, and then a cap goes in the middle like this. There we go, like that. And the main leg goes into the bottom of the fuselage like so. And the gear doors go against the gear leg like so. Then the outer gear door slips into position here. The arrestor hook goes in the base like so. Nose wheel sits at the front of the nose wheel bay. This little gear door goes on the front of the gear leg like so, just there. Then this longer door goes at the front at a slight angle, pushes up against the little door there. So we've got the canopy pieces here, and you'll see I've already glued the hinge here into place. Now this is actually located by two pegs into holes in the transparent parts. We know that is exactly where it's supposed to be. Now we're supposed to, on the inside of this, put a part to clasp it, but we don't know where to put it. So what I'm going to do is assemble the transparency as if I were doing a closed lid. Okay, and just tape it for the moment, because we're not going to glue it, we're going to tape it, because we would just like it to stay put. Then I can put the, see it's got holes for the little locator here, can put that over, and then we know that's exactly where it should be, and just glue it in place. Okay, so what I've done with these ejection seats, these are literally just the ones from the kit, single piece things. I've painted in the straps. One set of straps in like buff, the other set of straps in blue, and because you have a seat strap and a parachute harness because they're ejection seats. And I've put on these initiator handles in solder wire and painted them yellow and black. And that's all. I think they actually come up all right. Anyway, they can go into the aircraft and then the canopy can go on. The canopy goes on, and do you know what? I think that's my Sea Venom complete. Joe, on and off, it took me more than 3 months to do this build, but I think it was worth it in the end. I was concerned that at this scale it wouldn't look great as it was from such old manufacturing technology, but I think I was wrong. It looks pretty special. The majority of the parts just went where they were supposed to without any drama. The inclusion of the engine lends even more detail to the kit, and of course it does have options for folded wings and for rockets that I've chosen not to use. I was surprised at the quality of the decals after all these years, especially those for the wingtip tanks. Most of all, it built into something I'm pretty happy to take to my local model club and show to my peers. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, then please remember, let YouTube know by giving it a thumbs up, by subscribing, and by hitting the notification bell. Thanks so very much for watching today, and goodbye.